Hey guys, very good morning to all of you. I hope I am audible to all and you guys can also see the screen. Am I audible to you guys? Abhinay, Karthike, Ashwini, okay, alright, great. Thank you so much for confirming, guys. Welcome all of you to your fourth and the last session of Web Analytics. While this may be a formal last session, I must tell you some great things that happened last week. So I happened to meet some of the batch participants from other batches, and I must tell you, it's a wonderful feeling to actually meet, exchange views. I'm sure while it may be a last session, but the industry of digital marketing is so small, especially in the eastern part of the globe, that we're bound to bump into each other. So whenever we meet, say hello. I'm sure this is not the end. So hopefully we will meet. And all right, so let me kind of rewind a little um, and start from the very beginning of whatever we have done, and then I will keep my mouth shut for some time to see if there are any questions that have come until now. So any doubts now, whether it is about the topic or whether it is about the job market, whether it is about any other tool, or whether it's just your curiosity, some questions you may ask. And then we will start the fourth session, which is indeed the most interesting out of the bunch. So from session one onwards, guys, we've been talking about the philosophy of analytics. Why do we analyze? And sometimes why should we not? Then we spoke about the few keywords every analyst should know. And we have been building upon from those keywords, trying to understand them even better in the last 2, 3 sessions. We then spoke about the digital marketing measurement model. Very, very important to describe that for one organization, without which um, without which you are wasting your time in analytics or even in digital marketing. So it must start there. In the meanwhile, Chaitanya says no audio. So I'm hoping audio is fine with everybody else. For those who are not able to hear me, this is the phone number you must call. Okay, so after digital marketing measurement model, we spoke about filters, we spoke about multiple filters, we spoke about goals, we spoke about funnels, then we spoke about reports a little. We spoke about how in the last session we saw some examples of just by looking at reports, it sometimes changes the way we look at things. Right? It's like our blood test report. Sometimes we find something is missing and we completely changes our lifestyle. Sometimes we look at a report card and we start looking at a certain subject differently. When I first saw that I'm good at mathematics in class 9, I started loving mathematics just by looking at report card. And sometimes people look at what they're not good at and they try to fill that gap, and so on and so forth. And talking about reports specifically, we can never do them enough. We can never say that we have learned enough. So no matter if I take 4 or 5 more classes on looking at reports and telling how organizations would be using them, not only it is going to create boundaries around your thinking, it'll still never be enough. So just leaving there and picking up a new topic today, and before which I will open the house for questions. In today's session, we are going to talk about um, running campaigns. Okay, so today's session also, I think, is divided into two parts. One is how do we run a campaign? We will not talk about why should we run campaign. We should not talk about how do we do messaging for a campaign, because I think you guys are great marketers. We're going to talk about once you have decided that you have to run a campaign. So let's say big billion day sale campaign or save the tiger campaign, etc. So on and so forth. How do you measure whether your investments have paid off or not? That's one. The second part of the session, post break, we are going to talk about attribution modeling. Now, what is attribution modeling? It basically is a very simple but very powerful thing. 90% of my clients are not using this because they believe it's complicated, but it is the simplest of all things. So attribution modeling basically tells that if there are multiple touch points between your user and your website, which touch point should you attribute the credit of the sale to? So for example, if a person has come on your site from Facebook, later from Twitter, then from YouTube, then from an email marketing campaign, and then probably from an AdWords ad. Now, in which touch point would you like to believe that your customer decided to buy on your website? So how do you find that is the second part of today's session. Okay, so now I will open the house for more questions. Until now, if you have anything in mind about analytics, or even we can deviate a little. So Yogesh says I was pursuing Google Analytics course from GA Academy, and one of the questions it was given that source include Google Merchandise Store.com. Oh, okay. So guys, let me tell you this. It's good that you're asking this question. Google Analytics, in order to promote its tool, what they've done is they've given analytics data of Google Merchandise Store.com for everybody to practice. So let me show you how this is done. So you go to this website called Google Merchandise Store. Yeah. So this website, which sells you Google merchandise, for example, t-shirts, bottles, caps, and whatnot. So if I click on Asia, it will show me what all products I can buy. Very famous website. People buy multiple products from here. So Google Analytics says that they are giving you a playground on how data looks like for this website. Now, how do you get access to this website data? It's very simple. Go to Analytics, Discover, click on, hang on, let me take this up. Click on Google Analytics demo account, click on Go. The Karthikeya remembers we did it in the last class, but Yogesh, when you click on demo account here, then you will click on access demo account. Click here, you will be asked to sign in or sign up based on what your current situation is, and then you get access to this demo account. How does it look like? On the top left corner of your login, it will show something like this. Demo account beta. Google Merchandise Store, master view, click on the view name, and you will start seeing data here. So this is Google Merchandise Store data. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions about whatever we have done until now? Or while you may think, let's start our new journey. You can post your questions anytime during today's session. Let's start our journey of running campaigns. And I must tell you, guys, I want your attention today during the first 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. If you are watching YouTube, if you're watching anything else along with this session, I would request you to please skip that for a while. I'll give you enough time to chill. I'll give you enough time to practice. So, yeah, Amit says I have, but they're operational. I may ask later, maybe one on one. Okay, Amit, as you please. You have my email ID. You can always write to me. I'm on Twitter also. This is my handle, and I am on. So my email ID, I think you guys have, but I'm going to share that again. It's my first name dot last name at gmail.com. Just in case you want to inquire about something post the session also, you can. So let's start today's session, guys. And if you miss understanding this part of the workshop, the next 1 hour, then I would say that you will face issues in future. So that's why I'm saying 1 hour of focused attention. I'll go slow, and if you have any questions, stop me there. So let's talk about the campaign. Now, Google Analytics today is going to tell us about our traffic sources, which means out of multiple mediums and channels, our ads are visible. Our affiliate marketing guys are there. YouTube ad is there. Facebook, we are running 10 ads. How do we know out of 100 customers who have come on our website today, how many of them have come from Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth? Not only that, can I build on top of that data to improvise my campaign and optimize my marketing budgets as well? And that's the quest for today's session. Now, if you have ever been a part of a team who has run a campaign, large scale, small scale, medium scale, anything, you will see that it is a small programmatic way of approaching campaigns. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but let's just talk about what this program looks like, or what this process of campaign looking like. The first thing that you decide is that what is it that you want to communicate? Are you saying you're going, like a Swachh Bharat campaign, which means, talk about a new concept altogether? Or is it particular sales oriented campaign or something else? You have to decide what the message is going to be. Of course, it has to be short, sweet, 5 word, 3 word campaign that people can absorb. It cannot be a complicated message. The next is, once you've decided the plan or designed the message, how are you going to take that message out to your customers or potential customers? So what is your plan looking like? Are you saying you're going to have an online medium or a social media campaign or email campaign or even SMS campaigns and so on and so forth? Now, once you've decided on the outreach plan, you will then have to invest money in each of these so that the platform can work. I mean, it can take the message across from you to the customers. And once users start looking at your ads or your campaign, they will start clicking on the links, they will start reacting or responding to your call to actions, they will come on your website, they may or may not buy. They'll give something as revenue to you. And then you measure the returns, which means the revenue minus your costs. You will know whether you're profitable or not. Now, if you are not profitable, then it tells you how to become profitable. If you are profitable, it tells you how much you are profitable and whether can you improve upon it. So this is a simple step-by-step process. Now, I am not going to touch upon the campaign message that you decide what your business wants. Right? Let's talk about the outreach plan. Let's say that I am going to take my campaign message, which is, let's say, New Year offer. Let's say we are in December and we want to launch a campaign. But the outreach plan looks like this. This is an example plan. You have decided to reach out via social media, email, and banner ads. Under social media, you've thought maybe Facebook and Twitter are the great mediums to take, to get people on board. LinkedIn is not the right thing. Probably let's spend on YouTube. For email marketing, you have had, let's say, 3 ideas. One, you're going to sensitize people about the New Year's campaign before the New Year arrives. That means around last week of New Year. And on the day, 31st December, and for those who have missed the offer, can still avail the offer after the New Year is over. I mean, the first week of January probably. And you have purchased good, ad space on your favorite websites where you believe people will come and click on your ads. Now, this is a very simple, oversimplified rather, I would say, just to understand today's concept. Now, when I draw this out on a whiteboard to my clients, It is not only three level of hierarchy, it becomes seven or eight level of hierarchies also sometimes. For example, within Facebook, you may be running multiple ads, some on mobile, some on desktops. Within mobile, ad is looking different for iPhones and for Samsung phones or Android phones. Within laptop, there are 20 different ads for male, female, age brackets, location. So different people see different ads. Right now, I'm just saying there may be more. So so at each level there may be more hierarchy. But I'm saying at this moment, if we understand this much, it's good enough to go ahead and do anything. Now, keep this one thing in mind for the sake of vocabulary. The first level of hierarchy, this is called campaign name. This is what the tool wants to know. What is your campaign name? Then what are your campaign mediums? So the social, email, banner ads are called campaign mediums. Mediums basically means how do people come on your website? And the third level, where you see Facebook, Twitter, and those website names, are called campaign channels. Sorry, campaign sources. I'm sorry. Now, sources are those digital properties from where people click on your ad to come on your site. Just keep these three things in mind. It will help you understand the concept better. Campaign name, campaign medium, and campaign source. Right. Ashwini is saying, can we know for a particular user? Okay, can we know for a particular user following a campaign? Yes, of course. Now, not a particular user. You will not know the individual's name. It is because of the privacy policy by Google that you cannot know individuals, but you can, of course, see how many people are behaving in a certain fashion, reacting to a certain campaign differently, unless you are asking people to log in to your website. So we'll talk about it in a while, Ashwini. But keeping in mind that privacy policy always comes in the way, but is also protecting the user's privacy. Now, also another thing you have to keep in mind that no matter where your users are seeing your ad, wherever they are clicking on, they're all landing on to, let's say, your campaign offer, campaign page, which can be your website.com, for example, ashwini.com/New Year offer or flipkart.com/New Year, something like that one campaign. Now, designing this is okay. Now let's put our budget constraints on top of it. Let's say we have $10,000 in our pocket, or 10,000 rupees, or whatever unit you decide. I mean, every campaign has a constraint of either time or money or resources. So let's live within that and start distributing this money. So let's say out of 10,000, I'm saying social media looks very promising. I will put 50% of my money in social, $3,000 in email. And under social media, I think I have more trust in Facebook than Twitter. So I'll put money on Facebook and then Twitter and then YouTube and so on and so forth. You distribute money like this. Now, most of my clients ask me this question at this moment. On what basis are you telling me, or on what basis have you decided that this should be the budget allocation? What if Facebook is not the right platform for me and YouTube is? Are you saying we are going to waste $3,000 there and invest only 1,000 on YouTube? Right? The other thing that they ask usually, are there any case studies? Are there any white papers? Are there any best practices to follow based on which industry I belong to? What percentage of my money should go where? Right? Now, for example, my real estate client said, let's not allocate money based on our gut feel because we may be wrong. Let's look at how real estate industry does it. So maybe some white paper will say real estate industry should spend 30% of their budget in email marketing and only 5% on Facebook because people don't like clicking on real estate ads on Facebook, for example. Now, all of this is post facto. My response to my clients in this case is simply this: if you were to follow any white paper or case studies to base your decisions of budget allocation, then you are being dumb. Where is the analyst in you? See, we have to play the right balance between our intuition and our analytical capabilities. But if you were to follow a best practice, and best practices are always on averages, and averages are not real; they are averages. Now, Shabir says maybe not relevant here. Traffic from YouTube to a site which having AdSense is Google going to allow that? Okay, yes, of course. I mean, everything is possible based on traffic sources. Pranav is saying, and Mayank Gupta is saying it depends on product profile. Okay, so Mayank, I would say you are right. Not only depends on product profile, it also depends on what kind of a marketer I am. So it's not on the website, not on the brand, it's also about who the marketer is sometimes. Now, I have seen most of my clients showing this or demonstrating this fear that we may waste our money if we are just basing it on that field. Now, let me present to you a different side of the coin. Most of these white papers are bought and are sponsored. Now, I was reading a very, very authentic looking white paper by one of the largest research organizations in the world. And somehow on every alternate page, they were talking about LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. I thought there is something fishy. I did some Googling and I found that that white paper was sponsored by LinkedIn. So you never know the content you are reading is trying to manipulate your thoughts in some way. So before you believe in those white papers and even those bloggers who keep talking about what is the right platform, you don't know who is behind that content. Now that's rather a simpler thing to solve. But you know what? Analysts have this way of proceeding in such issues, which is very simple. You put forward a hypothesis and then prove it wrong. Have you done this in your school or in your college? That if you were to prove something, you start with an assumption that this is right unless you prove it wrong. Have you done this process before? Or what is the meaning of hypothesis? I'm sure people would have at least heard this word at least. So what we are going to do today is very simple, is that whatever budget in our whims and fancies we thought that this $10,000 should be allocated this way, we are going to assume this is the best budget allocation. It could not have been better. And we are going to ignore all the case studies that are there, because now we are going to develop our own case on what is the right budget allocation for my website as opposed to my industry. And hence, we're going to go forward with this. If, however, our hypothesis proves to be wrong, then we will build in the capacity in our campaign or in our method to reallocate the budget real time unless we reach the right hypothesis. That's all. So we can ignore this last 5 minutes. Let's see. This is the budget allocation, and it's rather simpler, right? This is our money. We may decide however we want to spend it, but what is not easy is to find the returns on our investments. That's the real deal. Based on our returns, we can then play with our investments as well. Right? So, for example, look at a stock market or look at your mutual fund portfolio if you have, or wherever you're investing in. The moment you believe that these are my 5 shares in the IT industry, that some of them are not performing well, so you take that money out and invest somewhere else. So this is how we're going to build our portfolio here in our sources. Our sources are going to be our portfolio. Now let's talk about returns on our investments, which we don't know. Most of the marketers play in blind. Now in today's discussion, to make our discussions a little simpler and easier and interesting to understand, let's say we have a magic box. And this magic box can answer any question that we may have about the campaign. And the first question we ask from this magic box Hey, can you tell me the returns on my campaign investments? And a number comes out, $20,000. And you feel happy. You pat yourself on the back and you say, hey, I got a 100% return on my campaign. Let's party tonight. And that's how it happens. Now, for this particular number, green color number that you see there, you don't really need a magic box. Most of the agencies you outsource your campaigns to, they make up this number, or sometimes they actually find this number out, and you feel great about it. Whether you are profitable or you are in loss, most of the marketers don't go any further. For a simple reason, if you're in loss, nothing can be done. The campaign is over. And if you're in profit, you don't care, where you made profits. But today we are going to go a step further and we ask this magic box, can you tell me what is my returns on my campaign medium level investments? And numbers come out like this. And you feel a little disappointed with email. While $20,000 looks amazing, most of the returns have come from social media you never realized earlier. It got compromised with email and banner ads just hardly paid for themselves. And then you go and decide to go a step further. Can you give me returns on my source level investments? And numbers come out like this. You feel a little more disappointed now. You were thinking social media was amazing, but Twitter was a loss making platform. Email you thought is not going to help you make money, but your post New Year campaign gave you 100% returns. And if you keep going further, within Facebook, let's say you're running 5 different ads. Which ad worked? Which did not? And how do you know whether an ad worked? Not by looking at the number of clicks, but sometimes by looking at how many actually converted on your site. So if people have ran Facebook ads before in this batch, you would know that Facebook insights give you some insights about the engagement with an ad, but does it tell you whether people bought on your site? We have to we have to actually plug that gap, whether an ad was an engaging ad versus those people who came on that engaging ad actually bought. Or maybe there is a different ad where engagement was very little. Maybe 5 people clicked on it on that ad, but out of those five, 4 people actually converted. Right? So today is the quest for that. And why am I telling you this magic box story? Because imagine how important this information is. Look at this. I'm just hiding everything else. Your campaign gave you 100% return. Look at your source level returns. Facebook alone gave you a 300% return, which is so much more than your campaign level. So there were 9 other sources. That means all of them brought your campaign ROI percentage down. Imagine if you had this information earlier or real time as you were running this campaign, you would have invested all $10,000 in Facebook and made $40,000, and you were earlier happy with just half of it. So guys, in this next 15-20 minutes, now let's jump to how do we get these green color, red color numbers, and this magic box is nothing else but our own tool, Google Analytics. Now, let me set the context on how this tool will give you these numbers, returns numbers. Of course, you know your investment numbers, you have put on your own credit card number, you know that you've invested. Now, let's look at returns. And before that, I am going to repeat these words multiple times over today so that you never forget. Source is that particular website name or a digital property from where people are seeing your campaign hyperlink and coming on your site. Medium is how are they coming on your site. So for example, if somebody searches for your website on Google search and they click on organic hyperlink to come on your site, then the source is Google, which means the website name, and medium is organic. The other examples can be sources. Facebook and Medium is social media. The other example can be sources 31st December email, and Medium can be email marketing. Now, Google Analytics can accurately identify the source and medium of only those users who are coming from organic, referral, and direct. Anything other than this, Google may try, but they may get absolutely inaccurate information. So, for example, if somebody is coming from Google, Yahoo, Bing, and they come on your site, great. Google Analytics will know that they have come, and not only that they have come, also measure all the metrics of all those people, including their bounce rate, what time they came, how long did they spend, which pages they looked at, what are their bounce rates, all of the other metrics that we have started independently for each of those users. Similarly with referral, so for example, if a user is on the website called satyam.com, and in one of the articles I've given hyperlink to shabir.com. If people go from satyam.com to shabir.com, that means it's a referral hyperlink. Google Analytics will also identify that accurately. And if somebody comes to your website directly, which means by entering the URL in the address bar or by clicking on a bookmark within a browser, all of this is easy. Google Analytics will do this for you. However, we have just decided we will run our campaign on email, display ads, and social media. How about that? Google Analytics will fail to identify. If they will not even if they don't even understand that people are coming from these sources, how will they ever be able to measure the campaign ROI? Google Analytics can be trained to do it through a technique or a method called link tagging and URL tagging. How many of us in today's session have any information or knowledge about URL tagging? Anyone who knows what it means? Okay, so I think this is a new concept for all of you. Okay, great. So let me tell you what link URL tagging is and how does this campaign works. So for example, let's say you are sending a newsletter to your 1 million newsletter subscribers, and within that you've given a hyperlink. Hey, click here to get 10% off on this New Year campaign or whatever that campaign is. Now we've just understood that Google Analytics will not identify how many people came from this email unless you do URL tagging. Now, what is URL tagging? Now, because you want to raise the right reports and know what is the impact of this campaign, you tag your URL. What is a tag? It's a very simple thing. So whenever you go to the airport, right, they attach tags to your luggage. I hope you remember, right? Now, on that tag, they write multiple things. Who's the owner? What is the destination city? What is the source city? At what time? What is the boarding pass number? And so on and so forth. Why do they do that? So that in case the luggage is somewhere lost, you can always trace it down. Who does it belong to? Where is it? And so on and so forth, right? Now, just like the tag at the airport on your luggage, this tag is just a digital tag, so that we know what is the source of the user, what is the destination of the user, which website this person wants to go to, from where is it coming, blah, 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 other things. So that whenever a person clicks, this information goes to Google Analytics dashboard. Now, just like you can write multiple things, I mean, even use a pen on that tag and write something on the physical tag, there are multiple things you can write on the digital tag as well. Out of these 5 things, which we've just studied, by the way, campaign source, medium, and name, we've just studied. Term and content we'll talk about in a while. So we'll just ignore it. They are anyways optional. but we're going to talk about them in some time. Campaign source in this case will be New Year's Eve email. Medium is email, and campaign name is New Year offer, isn't it? Now I'm not applying much of my brains. I'm just copy pasting what I showed you in that larger campaign outreach plan. Now, if you want to make this URL into a tagged URL, this is how you do it. You go to a campaign URL builder tool, write the following things. What is your campaign or landing page URL? Then you write the source, then you write the medium, then you write the name, and then you press the submit button. It'll give you a URL like this. Now, this is a very ugly looking long URL. I'm sure the first thing that comes to your mind now by looking at this long URL, every time you have clicked on some ad, it has taken you to a long URL, right? But you often ignore what that long URL is, and then you start with a website. Have you ever observed such long URL, guys? Whenever your Flipkart email comes to your inbox, you click on the URL. Or maybe you're clicking on a Facebook ad, it is a long URL. What does that long URL do? It tracks you down as a user. This is what we are learning today. Now look at this long URL. It is a combination of this casual URL. After that, there is a question mark which separates the URL and the campaign parameters. And then it says UTM source equal to New Year's Eve, and UTM campaign equal to New Year offer, and UTM medium equal to email. Now, what does UTM stand for? What is this percentage 20? All of that. Let's ignore that for a while. But what is happening now in this URL is that this information is going to go to Google Analytics to raise great reports from campaign hyperlinks. It's very simple. All you do is just create these URLs, and that's it. Your Google Analytics reports will start to work like magic. So in the last 15 minutes, all the theory, now let's do some practice. It'll make you understand the concept much better. In the last session, guys, we've already seen that, let's say on this demo website, we are selling inbound marketing workshops, right? Let's say I am running a Diwali offer or a New Year offer of 10% discount to those people who buy inbound marketing workshops on my site. How do I do that? What do? I go to, let's say, Facebook. Let's run a Facebook campaign. So this Marketinomics website also has a Facebook fan page with some 6,000 plus fans, etc. So what do? I will write let's start a Facebook campaign. Okay, Shabir is saying if this one separate Facebook organic and paid traffic. Shabir, I didn't get your question. Can you please repeat? If you're asking the campaign can help you identify Facebook organic and paid separately, the answer is yes. I'm giving you an example of just that. Okay. So let's say I'm running a Facebook campaign. I'll write, hey marketers, wait, I will write, hey aspiring marketers, avail 10% off on inbound marketing, blah, 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 whatever that is, call to action. I'm not just citing that. And you will copy this link and paste it here. And as you already know, a hyperlink automatically converts on Facebook to some images. You may want to change these images by loading something. It is embedded, and then I will write book your seat now. Now, in order to make it a little more successful campaign, I will boost this post, probably spend some money, maybe maybe 10,000 rupees or something, but have a look at what my campaign allows. Okay, I have a budget of $3,000 for Facebook, by the way. So let's say I spend some money here. I'm not going to click now. And the moment I say publish, it will start appearing on people's timeline. and people will start clicking on that link, coming on my site, they'll start buying it. As simple as that, right? Let's not complicate things. Google Analytics in all of this scenario will fail to identify who this user is, where is the person coming from, what is the behavior, and so on and so forth, because we have not tagged the URL. We've just placed the casual URL here. Now let's understand how to tag a URL. For that, I'm taking you to Google Campaign URL Builder. Just Googling it, the first URL will take you to the help section in Google Analytics. And this is how the tool looks like. It's very simple. The first box says, what is the website campaign landing page? So I'll copy this URL and I will paste it here. Simple. Now then there are 5 types of tags you can attach. We just saw that in the PPT. Campaign source, campaign medium, campaign name, term, and content. Each of them examples are here. Source is who's the referrer. Medium is what is the medium, and what is your campaign name, etc. So I'm just writing it here. Facebook was my source of that ad. Medium was social media. Sorry. And campaign name was, let's say, Diwali offer or whatever offer, New Year offer. I'm keeping the rest blank. They're anyways not mandatory. You see here, automatically a long URL has come here, which has the normal URL. After that, there is this question mark. And then it says UTM source equal to Facebook, medium equal to social, campaign equal to Diwali offer. I'm going to copy this and now run a campaign with this URL and not the normal URL. So I go here, I cancel this, and I'll create a new update now. And I will write a call to action here, whatever that is, and then paste this long URL. Now this long URL will again automatically convert it into a thumbnail, a header, and a description, and so on and so forth. And I may want to change this. I can edit it. I can change this, blah, blah. I can boost it. And then I will say publish. Shabir, you can shorten the URL as well. No issues at all. It's the same thing. It's just the redirection. Now remember, when this ad will start showing up on people's timeline, on your fans' timeline and their friends' timeline as they keep sharing it, they will start clicking on your ad, but this time they're not clicking on the small URL. They're actually coming on this long URL, which is going to take the users at the same landing page, which the short URL would otherwise take you to. But in this case, you are passing these URL parameters along with the URL. And exactly at this moment, what will happen? Google Analytics, which is there in the header of this particular page, will capture this URL and will exactly understand where this person is coming from, on which page this person is coming to. And from this point onwards, if I go to any other page, let's say if I go to home page, I go to blog, then I go to contact, then later on I come and buy, everything is mapped to my acquisition as Facebook and social media. Because once you have opened it, it goes in, stores itself in cookies, and then I go to any other page, doesn't matter. My cookies will trace me that a Facebook user came to a site and then purchased or didn't purchase something on a site. Now let me show you how this magic tool works in the backend. This is just the front end. You just have to create those URLs. Now if I take you to the analytics dashboard and take you to acquisition and overview here, it will show you where people are coming from now. So social was otherwise, didn't actually show up unless you have set it up in your campaign dashboard. Or let me go to market dynamics. We've just created this, right? I'll show you acquisition overview of this website, which says organic search is 82%, direct is 16%, referral is hardly anything, and social is very little, maybe 1 or 2 users, right? Now let me select a large date range here so that we see the right distribution over time. Okay, here it is. Now let me take you to the campaigns here on the left hand side, guys. Just follow this. I click on campaign. I click on all campaigns now. Now it will show me all the campaigns that I've ever run. Let me scroll down to show you. I've been running multiple campaigns, New Year offer, Diwali offer, digital Vidya test, and so on and so forth. Just for my, so look at this Diwali offer. It has I have acquired 189 sessions from Diwali offer. I might have spent maybe 100 rupee or something. My average session duration is 3.5 minutes almost. Goal conversion rate is 7%, which means 14 conversions have happened and I have made $1,400 from this campaign. This money of $1,400 is coming from the goal value we have set in session 2, if you remember. Now, Google Analytics will do the rest. You just have to set the goals that's there in session 2. You have to implement Google Analytics tracking code in the header in session 1. You then have to run a campaign with just the URL that you're learning today. And reports are going to show up. That is you've learned in session 3. Now here, I wanted to not only see what my campaign returns are, but now I want to know each medium and each source returns. I click on this Diwali offer now. Now look at this trend chart actually. In the selected date range, a lot of people would have come on the site, but only these many have come by clicking on a campaign ad. Now there may be people who are coming on your website directly without clicking on your campaign hyperlink anywhere on internet. That's fine. We are not including them in this because they have not, we have not paid to acquire them. And then I scroll down. It shows Twitter, social. Look at the dimension name here, source/medium. So it will show both Twitter/social, Facebook social, chat window, digital Vidya class, and LinkedIn social, and so on and so forth. I did some examples here. It says Twitter social media given $200, and then Twitter social media has given $900. Now, why is this row number 1 and row number 5 separate when they are the same thing? I deliberately did this to show you that campaign tags or the URL tags that you put are case sensitive. So if you write a T with a capital or Twitter with a capital T and then Twitter with a small t, your Google Analytics will get confused. It will assume that these two Twitters are two different Twitters. Ideally, row number 1 and row number 5 should be same coherent row, a single row. But because you did, by mistake, or you didn't follow the best practice, to keep a few things in mind when it comes to best practices. Let me show you that. That use consistent spellings, use consistent lowercase, uppercase, use consistent values of campaign name, medium, and source. So for example, some of my clients sometimes write Facebook and then they write FB. Sometimes they write social media with a space, sometimes they will write social media without a space, and so on and so forth. So this is how you run campaigns. Now let me take some random examples on the internet. Are we the only ones doing this? Or are there other people who also do this? So let me just go to Facebook. So guys, you can please ignore whatever that comes on my personal timeline. So let's just click on a few ads. Okay, so there is this ad coming from Great Learning. Be analytics ready in 8 months. Okay, great. They're telling me that I should buy their analytics workshop. Very nice. Let's see whether they are tagging it. And by the way, this company is paying some money on Facebook. If they really want to know what the returns on investments are on Facebook, then they should be tagging it. So let me see what happens when I click on this URL. It takes me to their website. Now observe the URL, guys. The actual URL ends just here before the question mark. If I delete everything that comes after it, it will still be the same page. But then it says UTM source equal to Facebook, medium equal to look alike apps, campaign equal to AGL, BACP, web conversion, Bangalore desktop, new, and so on and so forth. We haven't spoken about the term yet. All right, so that means these guys are tagging. So if I now sign up with my name, email ID, phone number, work experience, and if I say download brochure, etc. And if this download brochure has a goal value of, let's say, $2 or $200 or whatever that is, lead capture value, then that lead capture value will will be attributed against Facebook, because Facebook gave them a new customer. Let's try something else. Let's click on some other ads. Let me scroll down. Okay, I think my Facebook is also behaving funnily. So if I click on upgrade product management certification on the right bottom corner, now look at the URL. It says become a product manager. I tell you that these weekends, they're all filled with such ads, and they only come on weekends. They don't come on my timeline on Mondays to Fridays. So look at this: UTM source equal to Facebook, medium equal to paid social, campaign equal to October 2017, and blah blah blah. So almost everybody is tagging their URLs. Or let's go to complete non-social website. Let's go to ndtv.com. Let's see if there are any banner ads today. Or let's go to money control also. Okay, so again, Great Lakes ad has come. Or let's look at some other ad. Okay, they are following everywhere. Moneycontrol.com. Okay, let's say there's a banner ad here which is loading. Okay, didn't load. Oh, all right. So I've actually applied a ad blocker on the top right corner here. So the ad will not show up. That's the reason here also it's not showing up, but I think Great Lakes is showing. So let's see if I click here. Look at their UTM source equal to Google, medium equal to CPC, campaign equal to remarketing. Isn't it amazing? They're actually measuring everything. Or if I then remove the ad blocker from money control, let's see what happens. Some new ad will come now. Okay, it says ICICIdirect.com. It's an ad, right? On a money control, it says low cost uh, accounts. I click here. Let's see where it is taking me to, ICICIdirect.com. So they've created a separate page for that, and then says UTM source equal to money control, medium equal to market trader, campaign equal to trader, and so on and so forth. Now look at this. Imagine when money control would have said we are open for new banner ads on the home page. If ICICI Direct is not putting these campaign source on their own hyperlinks, then they will have to believe in money control's data on how many people actually click. Now money control can say we have given you 100 clicks on your site, but in actual, now ICICI Direct can look at their own dashboards and say, hey, we got only 98 clicks. Why are you charging us for 100? So that, conversation you can have only when you are tracking your own ads on different platforms. I hope people have here understood how campaign tagging works. Any questions about it until now? It has been around 50 minutes that we've been talking about it. I'm hoping everybody has understood campaign tagging. Anyone who hasn't? Okay. Now let me give you a couple of interesting examples. Okay, Mayank says the medium is only what? Campaign URL builder tool. Yeah, or you can use an Excel sheet also to build it. That's also fine. All you need to do is add this UTM source equal to something, medium equal to something, campaign equal to something. You're good to go. There are many tools in the market, but that by Google is very simple. Now, a few examples. In fact, I thought I'll bring some photographs of my client, but I couldn't manage. One of my client uh, wanted to experiment. Okay, Shabir says my problems have been solved. Okay, my all right, Shabir. That's very nice to hear. If just by going through some theory and a little bit of practice, uh, good if you start doing your marketing differently from now onwards. I mean, that's the only expected outcome from these sessions. Okay, so Shabir, maybe you will now by the next example you will be more excited. So one of my client wanted to experiment, and they said, I want to measure my offline marketing campaigns. How do you measure? So out of many print ads and many highway hoardings in Bangalore that we put, we tried and experimenting on a couple of these uh, campaign mediums. One was a print ad on coffee stores. I'm sure if anybody who has ever visited a CCD or a barista or a Starbucks, you would have seen that small magazine, newspaper like magazine that is there on every table, but it is available only on those stores. You don't get those magazines outside. Have you seen those? Yeah. So with CCDs and baristas, we purchased the back cover of that magazine, and we printed, everything about the ad, just a normal ad copy which you will see everywhere. So nothing great or creative about it. Just one thing, that we placed the QR code. That QR code, excited people to scan it, because under the QR code it said get your 10% off on the current order in the shop. So if somebody is in the CCD, you scan this QR code, unlock a coupon, and you get a 10% off. See, you get a unlock is easy, but what you've done with that is you've gotten people to your website. Then it's the job of the marketer to make sure that you've done enough sales and marketing. Now, how was that QR code built? I think that was also a case study that came in some newspapers, some blogs also. But let me show you. How do you create a QR code? I'm sure all of you know that. So I go to QR code generator, and then I also go to campaign URL builder. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. Now in this case, let's say this is my hyperlink. My campaign source was CCD. Actually, no. My campaign source was Indiranagar in Bangalore. I want to know which store is giving me more users. So Karthikeya, can you hear me now? I think my internet connection is quite fast. It should not be an issue from my side. My campaign medium is CCD, and my campaign name is, let's say, Diwali offer. Or maybe demo campaign. Let's keep it Diwali only. All right. I can change this CCD to Barista, or I can change this Indiranagar to Electronic City, or to Jayanagar or JP Nagar. All of these places are in Bangalore. And this is the URL that I will embed in the QR code. All right. So I go here. I will scan this QR. I'll put this into QR code, and then I will say create QR code. Now the one that is created on the right hand side, I will take a printout of this and paste it as a sticker on all of my ads in that particular store in Indiranagar, in CCD. So if anybody in this batch can open a QR code scanner in their browser on their phone, okay, all of you open your phone right now and scan this code. Very interesting assignment. So I'm just Googling QR code scanner on my phone. And it takes me, okay, ignore all the apps that show up. Go to a browser that says the QR code generator.com, and I will allow my camera and I'll now scan this QR code. And now I am on that web page which it showed. Did you scan this QR code, guys? Just observe the URL. Are you on the URL which we just created just by scanning the QR code? Now imagine, just be there on the site. Don't go anywhere. Don't exit the website. Yeah, it's the same URL. Click on that URL to go to that page. Now imagine that people are scanning this, and the first thing that pops up on this page is unlocking a coupon code, and then they can continue on the website. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on the website real time. I have 5 people on my site coming from different parts of the country with the same QR code. And let me look at traffic sources. Now look at this. 4 of you are coming from medium CCD and source Indranagar. Now imagine this dashboard. Okay, one of the user is right now on the site directly. We don't know where this person is coming from. Okay, directly. But look at 4 of you who have clicked on this URL from the QR code. Now imagine a report where on the medium side, I see all of those brands where I've advertised, not only CCD, but Barista and Starbucks also. And against each CCD, you see the store name, Indranagar, Electronic City, Jayanagar, JP Nagar, and how many people are there on my site from each of those. Now this is only real time. Imagine if you go a little deeper, I go to acquisition, I go to campaigns, I go to all campaigns, and let me select today's date. Though I don't know whether it will show some data up. Oh yes, it's showing 5 people. Now in this campaign, you see 4 people have come from Diwali offer. None of you have purchased anything on my website. That means none of you have gone to the inbound marketing link. So let me click on Diwali offer and see what the source in medium is. Indranagar CCD. 4 people. Bounce rate is 0. So none of you have actually exited from the site by clicking on the first page. So people are going from one page to another. Average session duration is 14 seconds. And if you actually go to a URL of inbound marketing, it will start saying that I have made money from those people who are coming from Indranagar store. Now this is how you do offline to online linkage. And you not only do this linkage, you also understand whether you are making any money from that offline marketing or not. Let me just Google a few more things. I'm sure you're getting ideas on how you can use it. QR code on billboards. We did this in Bangalore actually. Okay, so let's look at some of them. Okay, they are not the Bangalore examples. So how many of you have ever been to Bangalore? Anyone? Okay, how many of you have heard of this very famous place in Bangalore called Silk Board? Anyone who has heard of Silk Board? What is it famous for? Anyone? Absolutely, Pranav. So it's a place where you get traffic jams for hours, and it's a very regular affair there. And Not only Silk Board, there are many places in Bangalore, not many actually, 5 or 7 such junctions where you are there. That means you have to call your family and say, don't wait for me. And you switch on your FM and you know, you start to feel that your car is your home because you will move slowly. Now, when I was, with my client and also trying something in such junctions, we put up huge boards. I think this was around January 2017. We put such billboards in the traffic jams of Silk Board, Electronic City Flyover, Hebbal, and a few more, Chickpate, and so on and so forth, where people who have nothing else to do but sit in the car get curious when they see a highway hoarding with just a QR code. And to capture into that curiosity, everybody will then start downloading it, or an app or something, to start scanning the QR code. And then you get to know, oh, this is, by the way, a real estate client, very famous, very well known in Bangalore for its creative marketing. And then people scan this QR code to go on their website to see the current offers. That's all. And you get to know whether your Indiranagar flyover is working, or your Hebbal flyover to customers are converting, or your Silk Board or Electronic City flyover. So you get to do all of those also. So this is how you do offline online marketing. This is very interesting, and we saw great conversion, by the way, of site visits. Yeah, Pranav, after criminals, the next profession is marketers. you know, they will do anything and everything possible to get their work done. Yeah. So, all right. So, I hope in the last 1 hour you have understood how campaign tagging works, and you can now utilize this in your marketing. So, I hope you now understand how analytics can help a little better than what you knew an hour back. Okay, Deepak says, I did the QR code marketing, but without the Google Analytics part. Great. So then that's fine, Deepak. You've at least started to, you're somewhere there. But if you want to complete the loop to understand how many people actually purchase and who were those, I mean, where did you acquire them? Yeah, good. Good. Now you know, Deepak. Okay. So now, okay, Chaitanya says we need these PPTs which you are using to explaining us. All right, Chaitanya. They're already there in the LMS, but if you need, I will ask the digital media team to email them to you, or at least the hyperlink where you can get these. They're already available to all our participants. Yeah. Now there is one last thing I want to talk about, maybe another 5 minutes, and then we'll take a break. I know it's a heavy Gyan session it has been, so I will not bore you more. Then we will take a break. Now, how about optimizing my budget real time? Okay, Deepak says there are a lot of content of other lecturers and yours seem to be the best. My pleasure, Deepak. I must tell you, I am a fan of other trainers as well. so it's just about in what mood you are. Maybe you're in good mood today. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about for 5 minutes on how do you do budget optimization. Let's say, okay, let me take you back to the PPT and back to that this particular screen. And let's do some doodling on this. Let's say this is our whiteboard. And we now need to know, let's say in last campaign, the Facebook marketing didn't work well. All right. We will not wait for the entire campaign to end. We will look at the dashboard. Okay, let me open that dashboard again. We will keep looking at this dashboard to see which of our campaigns are working or which of them are not working. So for example, when I click here, it shows that I have spent some money on Facebook. You know, maybe some numbers will be showing up here, but there is no money. So why should I continue running the campaign? It is not converting me good customers. So what I will do then is I will then stop this campaign. Maybe I've spent around $30 by now. Let's say I spent $30 by now and I've made zero money. So I will prune this branch from my campaign tree. And whatever money have I saved here, let's say my YouTube campaign was working. So I will put that money here. Similarly, let's say my money control campaign was working great, but my bbc.com banner ad was not working. So I'll take some of my money from other those sources which are not working well and invest in those which are working well. Eventually, arriving at a stage where we would have wasted some money in testing the platforms out. So maybe we would have spent $100 on Facebook, 200 on Twitter, and maybe 300 on BBC. But that's all. We would have not wasted whole of the money we would have otherwise thought we will invest. And keep pruning those branches which are not working well and reinvesting that money manually on those which are working well. So have a look at this. So if something is not working well here, I will stop doing this campaign here and I'll go to Twitter ad dashboard and I will start investing there. That's all. Now this way of doing is very different from believing in a case study. Going back to our first 5 minutes of the session, going back to our first 5 minutes of the session where you don't invest as per a case study or a white paper or best practices, because then it will take the entire essence of the analytics out. You don't need to be an analyst then. You can be pure blindfolded marketer to do it. What's the point in running such beautiful reports if you just believe in best practices? Now, in this case, what is happening is you are building your own practice for your website. Now, you may be a real estate customer or maybe a publishing client or an e-commerce client, and the best practices for the industry may not work for you because you behave very differently. You are a different brand. People love you more. They love you for different reasons. They behave differently on your site. So build your own practice. All right. So now what we will do is take a 30-minute break, have a good cup of coffee. It's very important to have coffee between analytics class. It helps. So, so what we will do now, after the break, we will come back and we're going to talk about whether this is the final picture or have we missed on something. That's the fun. Sometimes what we learn is not a complete stuff. What if somebody comes on your website from Twitter first? In fact, your Twitter campaign, which shows it is not converting people, only $500 you're making, but $1,000 you've invested, but you would have gotten some million users with those $1,000, for example. Now, what if people came on your site from Twitter and made up their mind, yes, they want to purchase, but they wanted to take opinion from their wife, their friend, their husband, or maybe they didn't have their credit card at the moment, but they made the decision from Twitter. Later, when they also saw an email coming in their inbox post New Year, and it said, "Hey, you can buy this product now because the offer is still running. You haven't missed it." Immediately, those people who would have made up their mind here would go on their inbox, click on the hyperlink, and buy. Now, what do you think where do you think the credit of the sale should go? Should it go to Twitter or should it go to email? Should it go more to Twitter, less to email, or should it go to more to email, less to Twitter, or should it go, how should it work? And whether this $500 is the real deal? No, probably there is more contribution of Twitter than $500. And hence we will talk about, once you have made a sale, how much of that of revenue should you attribute to Twitter or to New Year? post new year email, to understand that the real values and not what is conventional visible values on the report. Now, this report only shows whether these people have converted or not. This is the value of converting channels. But what is the value of this channel in assisting a sale and not converting the sale is the discussion we will have starting 11:45 till 12:45 or 1 o'clock. All right, guys. So please don't miss it. Uh, we will talk about that post session. Until then, Tarun has a question. Tarun says, how was their high ROI for Facebook campaign without money flowing in? Uh, have some parameters changed while considering this? Now, where do you say this? How was their high ROI on Facebook campaign without money flowing in? You're talking about in goal value. Okay, where do you think his goal value is higher for Facebook? There is no high value. There is zero here. Oh, that was only an example, Tarun. Just to that was a hypothetical situation. That was an example. Um, and I didn't even know that I'm going to show you this dashboard. I thought I'll show you my client's dashboard who just revoked the permission from this thing. All right. See you guys after the break. Have a good cup of coffee. Also have some good breakfast and relax. You've understood a great topic today. Bye bye. See you on the other side. Don't be late. Hey guys, I hope all of us are back. Uh, I can see more number of participants after the break than before. How is that possible? But all right. So guys, great. I think we spoke about a really good concept in the first half. Any questions that have come to your mind during the break, you can ask now. Um, or what we can now do is talk about attribution modeling. And this is quite an interesting concept, though, and very simple at the same time. It may not take an hour or so, but let's see how, based on the kind of questions that come in today's session, we'll see how long the session can go. See, attribution modeling is basically like a football game. Have you ever played football? If not, you have at least seen football. So, how does it work in football? People pass the ball to each other, and the striker of our team, who's standing closer to the goal post of the opponent, to make sure that somebody passes the ball to him or her at the right time, in the right place, so that he has enough space to kick the ball in the goal. So there are often two or three, sometimes four strikers in every team. The rest of the team essentially passes the ball to these four. Now, what do you think, or who do you think should get the credit of the goal? Should the credit of the goal go to the striker, or the person who passed the ball to the striker, or the person who passed the ball to the person who passed the ball to the striker, or the entire team, even to the goalkeeper? Or is there any mathematical calculation you would want to do and observe for how long the ball was with somebody, and if somebody lost the ball to someone else? So based on each goal that happens, you should see who all who all had the ball and the right passes happened, made no mistakes, and then the goal credit should be given. Now, when you said to all, which is looks like we are fair people, we are good people, we want to be inclusive. Um, Now, some of us may say no, it should only go to the striker, because how do you identify the importance of somebody in the entire goal making process? Is try and removing them from the team. If By removing that player in the team still scores a goal. That means that person's importance was less, isn't it? So if I take the strikers out of the team, do you believe the team will still be able to make the goal? Because the whole only skill of the striker is to make the right kick in the goal. So the chances of making the goal will be probably lesser. Versus if you take a few team players out and so on and so forth. So not going into the details, but each goal we need to study how the goal happened and whom should get the credit. Now, agreed that everybody should get the goal, get the credit. But what percentage of the credit? So, for example, every time a team goals or scores a goal, they get $100,000 as a prize money. Now, what percentage of this $100,000 will go to the striker? Should all of it go to him? Should 50% go to him? Should 30% go to him and then 70% to some others, and so on and so forth? Now, that game of allocating percentages to each player in the team is called attribution modeling. You need to model that. There are various models available, and each business may follow a different model. So, for example, a publishing industry will follow a different model than real estate, then FMCG, then retail, then everything else. You have to see what suits you well. According to one of my NGO clients, not for profit clients, they said goal making is not even an objective. Awareness is an objective. Now, that's how NGOs work. They don't really want people to save the tiger, but they still want to talk to the world that please save the tiger. I don't. If let's say if I want to support save the tiger, how can I save the tiger? I don't know. So that entire case is uh, completely awareness based. So that they're saying none of the team players are important. The goalkeeper is important. The first touch point is important. Somebody who brings the ball in the court is important. Somebody who uh, kicks in the goal is not. So let's talk about attribution modeling for a while in the digital scenario and how does it work. Now, just before the break, we spoke about any touch point that will convert. So, for example, somebody came from Facebook onto the website and made a purchase. Google Analytics will give all the credit to that person to that particular Facebook channel, right? However, just as the football team, ball is being passed on between various sources and mediums before a conversion happens. Let's talk about a story. In fact, let's take this example where let's say this is the user journey for a purchase on a website. Somebody first came to know about my website from social media, then from organic, then email and Google ad. Second one also organic, email, social email, then SMS, social media, organic, Google ad, organic, social media, organic, so on and so forth. Now the last channel is where the conversion happened, therefore the user journey ended there. Now some channels are called the converting channels. Those who assist are called the assisting channels. Converting channels value is very easy. They'll show it to you in reports. Google Analytics will show that to you in reports. But to find the value of assisting channels is tough. But Google Analytics can help. Now, in this example, it looks like out of the 4 sales that have happened, 50% of my sales have happened via Google Ads, 25% via email, 25% via organic. Social media didn't play any role in converting, isn't it? This is an exact case that happened with my client 3 months or 2.5 months back, where my client said, since social media is not playing a role, I mean, it's not helping, it's not making people buy. We spend a lot of money on social media, but there is no tangible conversion. Should we stop investing in social media? And unanimously, everybody in the senior management said yes. Now, it's a child's play. If it is not giving us money, then stop the marketing there. Without realizing, social media was playing a role in assisting in almost every conversion, which they conveniently ignored because they never saw that report at all. Now, what happened? Funnily, you know, in fact, this was a post facto analysis or the post mortem analysis. When the investments of social media were decreased to less than 10% was of what it was, the converting channels also started to decrease the conversion rates. Isn't it amazing? So social media you reduce to increase your budget in other channels. But other channels stopped converting because of course you are taking one player out of your team from the field whose consistent job was to pass the ball to the striker. And now that person is missing and hence you will miss that particular person in your game. Let's talk about this in a story format. This is what all of my clients love reading. A customer finds your site by clicking on one of your AdWords ad. She returns 1 week later by clicking over from a social network. Observe the blue and the orange color text. That same day, she came back a third time via one of your email campaigns, and a few hours later, she returns again directly and makes a purchase. I'm sure all of us do this, right? Now, let's talk about the blue color text and underlined text. These are the touch points: AdWords ads, social network, email campaign, and direct. Now, there are various attribution models available in the tool. Let's talk about what do they mean before choosing one for ourselves. The first one is called the last interaction attribution model. In this model, the striker gets the credit of the sale. This is also the by default model. If the sale is worth $100, all the $100 attribution goes to the last interaction. Very simple. Most of my clients, knowingly unknowingly, keep it at this. Don't know why. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Then there is another one which is called the last non-direct click attribution model. In this case, all the direct converting traffic is ignored and 100% of the credit of the sale goes to the last channel that customer clicked through before converting in the last channel. In this case, email. Now, in what cases do you use this? See, the quest of, and let's take a step back to understand this model. The quest of any business is to become such a business that even your browser remembers the business name. So today, if I open my browser, Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, the moment I press the button F, it'll automatically show Facebook. The moment I press T, it'll automatically show Twitter. Now by pressing F, it will not show me Flipkart. By pressing T, it will not show me Tata. So that means Flipkart and Tata are far behind in terms of, look at it this way, in terms of the usage and how the customers recall the brand names of Facebook and Twitter. Though the fight may be wrong fight to fight, but the browser remembers a few names, isn't it? Now these are those websites which are so interesting and engaging that you don't need a reference to go to these websites. You will go to them directly. And hence this model tries and understand that concept. Where if somebody is going to your website directly to make a purchase, it only means the decision of the purchase have happened in the previous interaction. So for example, Flipkart keeps sending me emails 100 times a day, or even for that matter, Mintra and all of that. Now, I saw a great shirt for myself or a great watch for myself, but I have kept them, let's say, in the wish list or something. However, I would like to purchase when my wife is around. And I'll show her the images and I say, please tell me which one should I buy, and collectively we decide. To do that collective thing, my normal behavior will be to go open the website directly. And hence, it is ignored in those fashions where your website follows the same model. So none of my clients use this. I think very least used thing. But if you believe this suits you, go ahead and do this. The last is okay, not the last. It is basically called the last AdWords click attribution model. A very funny model. If AdWords ads have played any role or has been a touch point anywhere, whether in the beginning, middle, or the end, if it had played a role, all the credit would go to the AdWords ad. Funny, right? Why should one do that? It is created for those those marketers who spend money only on AdWords ad and not on any other network or any other touch point, and sometimes want to justify their spend. So if my CEO asks that you spent $1,000 on AdWords ad, show me the impact. You will select this model, and all the credit of the sale will go to AdWords ad justifying. It's also because understood because of both are Google products, would like to help each other out. Then next is the first interaction attribution model. The first touch point in this case, the paid search would receive 100% of the credit of the sale. This is used by far by all the not-for-profit organizations where awareness is important. Who brought the customer, who bought the user on the website is more important than who converts. One of my client, Fortis Hospitals across the country, let me share an example there. They ran a new campaign in all tier 1 cities in India. I don't know whether you read that coding. It was there in most prominent places around, I think, July this year. So 1 month campaign, very successful campaign of a new kind of blood test. It's a Fortis hospital. They wanted to, so they had some good CSR money to do this. They were saying that they have come up with some new technology. So the Western technology, very expensive, where you get your blood test done to find what are your chances of developing cancer in the future. I mean, this is how the innovation is happening in the healthcare sector. I was surprised when I knew that. From around a decade back, where we had no cure for cancer, the technology has come to a level where you do a blood test, just like you do your blood sugar or something else, right? CBCs, etc. The simple blood test could tell you what are your percentage chances of getting cancer in future. So they wanted to promote this healthcare technology across the country and completely from their CSR budget. None of the call to action said come to my hospital to do this test done. They just want to promote it. And on their website, on their social media channels, a lot of this marketing happened. People came, watched the videos, see how it happened. The number of, it was a 6-digit number in 1 month. People came and they chose first interaction model because that was their motive. Next is linear attribution model. This is what everybody would like to believe in. Let's give equal touch point, equal credit to all the touch points. So if it's $100 worth of sale, in this case, $25 will be the value for each, even the converting and the assisting channels. Also not very used. Then there are two models which are used widely: time decay model and position based model. So time decay model is based on the concept. Just look at this story one more time. And now focus at the orange color words also. Same day, 1 week later, few hours, etc. And then she returns again directly to make her purchase. So in this case, what the time decay model believes in is that the search of any product that you want to buy intensifies or increases when you are closer to the purchase. So for example, if I want to buy a new phone, I will start searching for it a long time ago, a long time back. But eventually, maybe a week later, I'll start searching for more. I'll watch more YouTube videos, unboxing videos, reviews, candid reviews, etc. And maybe a day before I buy, my search will be really intense because I know I'm going to make a decision. I need to make a decision. So time decay attribution model says the touch point closest in the time to the sale or conversion gets most of the credit. In this case, direct and email channels would receive most credit because the customer interacted with them within a few hours of conversion. Social network was a little behind, and then so on. Paid search was even before. In the time decay model, what you can also do is set up a time window. Very important. I'll show that to you in the practicals. Where you want to go 30 days back in history and ignore whatever has happened before 30 days, or 90 days, or 45 days, or 50 days, completely up to you. So for example, this big billion day sale campaign on Flipkart that is going to happen now is going to be, I think is already running or probably will run from now. Their campaign window, they will keep less than 5 days. It's because they want to measure the impact of big billion day sale campaign, and any touch point that has happened in last 5 days should be a part of the conversion cycle. Anything that has happened before this can be ignored because those were some different efforts. In the position-based attribution model, the first and the last touch point gets the credit of the sale, most of the credit, which is 40% each, and the rest are distributed amongst all. Now, let me show this to you in practice, how it looks like. I hope you've understood the basics. What are we trying to do? Forget about the models. So I will now take you to, let's say, market dynamics data, if there is enough data. So let's go to conversions. Let's go to multi-channel funnel. Let's first look at overview of multi-channel funnel. What does it show? Let's see. It shows, okay, very little data, 133 conversions. But let's see. It says most of your conversions have happened from direct channel. People are coming on your website directly and doing. But do you think that direct is so powerful that it pulled off all the conversions by itself? No. There was a huge overlap between social network and direct. There were 37 conversions that used direct and social network, two touch points to convert. And then there were two conversions such that happened via organic, social network, and direct, all three. And only direct was probably lesser, only. So this basically shows what is happening. So look at assisted conversions now, or look at top conversion paths to give a better picture. So this is just a single report for the conversion. Let me just show top conversion paths. Okay, it's basically showing most of your conversions are happening directly. But let me go to the demo website now. Maybe they will have more data. Okay, look at this. So many conversions have happened via direct, then referral and then direct, organic and direct, then direct 3 times, organic search. So you see here how conversions are happening. And you know what? Do you really believe that somebody was introduced to your website directly for the very first time itself? It's difficult to believe that somebody knew you the day you were born. So let's look at their look back window. Okay, so 30-day look back window. So you can actually go back to a 60-day time period and see what happens. Does it change anything? So there are people between who knew about your website 60 years ago. They were coming on your website directly and hence showing up here. Now comes the real deal, which is the attribution modeling. Model comparison tool. And I think that's the last thing. So we are finishing it up early. So let's see what it says. It says, according to the last interaction model, all right, and look back window of, let's keep it to 30 days for now, or 28 days, whatever that is. According to the last interaction model, I think direct channel is on top, has given us 40% of our conversions and 67% of our revenue. Organic search gave you almost 30%, conversions referral gave you 18%, and so on and so forth. But is this the reality? Let's say if I understand my business of Google Merchandise Store better, I start to believe, hey, last interaction is something that doesn't suit us well. I think it should be time decay model. The moment we do this, we start looking at our marketing completely differently. Let's see what happens when you compare the two. Okay, look at this. It says if you were to suppose that last interaction model is the right model for you, then 40% sales are given by direct. However, in the time decay model, it is only 36%, which means that you are overvaluing your direct channel by at least 10.5%. What you can at least do, the minimum you can do with this report is ask your marketing team to take your marketing spend out from direct campaigns, if there is any money that is going there, to take that money out and give it somewhere else. Now look at this. Surprisingly, we thought that the referral marketing is giving us 18% of our revenue. However, in time decay it is giving almost 20%, 19.92, which means we were undervaluing our referral marketing by 10%, which is huge deal. Look at this, how big this is. This is let's say 1 lakh 3,000. This is 1 lakh 13,000. Almost $10,000 difference in that 10%. Isn't it huge? Now, whatever your affiliate marketing spend or referral marketing budget in your marketing budget was, please increase it by 10%, because you know what? It is giving you more value than you earlier thought it is giving. So this is how you can compare with the last interaction model, which is by default model for most of my clients and your organizations. You would have never seen this before. The moment you choose the right model for you, you will start looking at your marketing spend appropriately. Now, not only this, right now it is showing you channel or medium grouping. Right? This is multi-channel funnels, channel grouping. So they have clubbed the channels. Now, within social network or within referral, which are those sites, which are those digital properties where you should start spending now? So let me do a source distribution. Let's see how it looks like with individual sources, and you will see surprising data. So the top 10 is showing up here. Now look at this. YouTube.com was 4% earlier, is now 4.9. You can increase your budget on YouTube by 2.5%. Looking at reddit.com, you can increase it by 2%. You can Baidu, you can increase it by 2%. You can decrease your direct marketing by 10%. And look at, let's say, are there any referral sites? Squishable, Kita, vk.com, internal intranet, Quora.com, and so on and so forth. Now Chaitanya says, are we supposed to disclose actual amount spent on all mediums? Disclose as in it's your company. So this is only demo report. Imagine when you're looking at your own company reports, you will know how much have you spent versus how much are you receiving, right? It will all show up here. And this will all show up here only because you have set up goal values of each thing that you are selling on your site. So it is disclosing only to you, not to outsiders, Chaitanya. So if I go to, let's say, any other site, I don't know whether there will be any data there. It's a real estate company. So it shows there is some money coming from various sources. Quora.com suddenly is coming up. Okay, nice. Let's try some other site. But I hope you're getting the fundamentals, right? The funda, the real funda, as they say. Okay, all right. So there are some questions. Let me pick them up. Deepak says these referrals are coming from which marketing campaign? So this is overall what's happening on your site. This is not from a particular campaign. If you, however, want to see a particular campaign, let me see if we can do it. Let me see if we can do a campaign acquisition via certain campaigns. So these are your campaigns. Now it has started to give you separately. So let me do a channel grouping and then by campaign. So now I have distributed this report with campaigns. Now look at this. If you look at organic search alone, okay, let's look at social network. Diwali offers. So I've been running three kinds of Diwali offers with different spelling. So all your campaigns will show up here. Valentine's offer and so on and so forth. All the money that you've made with individual campaigns will show up here. So right now with market dynamics, there's very little data. But let's say if you have some authentic real data, you will start see channel and campaign separately. Or you can do the opposite of it. First see the campaign report here. You go to goals, sorry, you go to conversions, you go to acquisition and campaigns and all campaigns. You first see the campaign and then you can do a certain campaign, then drill down to the network. Facebook social, this is what we saw before the break. Does that answer your question, Deepak? Chaitanya says, but we need to convince our clients to invest more in a particular channel by showing these tables. Yes, of course. So your clients basically means that they would anyways know what their spend and what their income is. So if you're talking about disclosing it, clients usually trust their vendors and their partners, so they will definitely open this to their web analytics organization or agency. And of course, they will anyways have access to this. So a third party is not seeing it. Now, Pranav is saying how to track user story when they have gone through multiple channels. It's very simple. All you need to do is click on conversions, click on multi-channel funnel. So the name itself says right, Pranav, multi-channel funnels. You also said multiple channels, and click on top conversion paths, or path length will also give you a good report. So this is what tells you, right? Direct, then something was unavailable. Direct 14 times, direct social network 3 times, and so on and so forth. If you go to path length, oh, it's the number of times they have changed the channel. That's okay. Now look at this, guys. Look at this. This is also a good report. I don't know whether it's too early to talk about that because this you will yourself discover when you practice. This is not something that can be taught. So what I have personally understood is that there are different kinds of conversions on the site. Some are very quick conversions. Some will take time. For example, on my site, there is a conversion set up for newsletter sign up. And newsletter sign up is free. People don't have to pay, so they don't have to think. What they do is, in some of my clients' dashboard, if I, let's say, so let's say there was a goal of newsletter sign up. When I apply, you will see a lot of signups happening in the first, second, third visit. So this bar will be huge, as opposed to if I select the other goal, which is actually signing up for a college course or maybe purchasing something, there it is screwed to the bottom because it takes money. So it takes multiple days, multiple sessions to come on your site to decide to purchase. So I have observed this. The easy conversions happen quickly, and it shows which of those are conversions. So let's say if you have 10 different goals set up on your website, you can select a goal and see which goal is converting at in how many days or in how many touch points. So that may help in designing those campaigns appropriately. Any questions as of now about Google Analytics? I think we have come towards the closure. I can spend another 1 hour on many other things. but I will take a stock check on if there are any questions in the team. Yes, Kartikeya, so there are a few topics that we left in the last session that I will definitely spend 5-10 minutes in covering. But essentially, if I were to rate your maturity, Kartikeya, the batch's maturity in terms of understanding of the tool and the concept, I think you guys have come a long way. And there are a few things which we didn't cover under behavior, but you don't need a trainer also for that. So, for example, if I go to site content, all pages, it will tell me which web page is performing how. So these are all the web pages on my site. So let me click on page title. So it will show the title of the page here. So on top is the home page, and then there are article names which I've written on the blog. Best B schools for marketing in India, Corona and the lemon veg story, what customers really need, and all of those 5 great books on branding you must read, etc. So all of these are those top 10 articles on my site in the selected rating, and individually each of them you see unique page views, you see average page on average time on that page, entrances, exits, bounce rates, page values, etc. Now if you go to content drill down, it shows which categories on your site is is the most famous one. So for example, if you go to ndtv.com, let's go there again. So you see here the categories are live TV, latest India, opinion, cities, world, offbeat, sports. So if I click on any of these categories, there will be multiple articles under it, right? So how do you know which collective category is the most famous one? And this also sometimes comes at a surprise. So for example, if I click here, according to me, as a digital marketer, I somehow, when I started writing this blog, consumer behavior was for me the most boring topic. I must say, I used to hate the subject because I never understood it. It went to psychology and details of chemical compositions of brains of customers and so on and so forth. Never understood it. But I realized that when I write something about it, a lot of people read it. So it changed my perspective towards the topic, and I know that this is my content magnet. If I write more about consumer behavior, this is the category that will sell the most. And of course, then there is digital marketing, B schools, branding, inbound, on approaches. So it tells me which category sells the more. Landing pages are those is where people enter your website. Then exit pages are those where people exit from your website. Then there is site speed. Interestingly, analytics helps you with technical abilities of your team as well. So if I click on overview, it will immediately calculate what is the average page load time for my site. It says on an average, my page loads in 25 seconds, which is pathetically high. It should be 3 seconds or less. It is high because I've not been maintaining my site from a long time. And it also shows the spikes when your website took a long time to load. So 90 seconds server took that time to respond. So maybe there's something wrong with the server. You need to probably increase your computing power, where you're hosting your site, etc. Then individual page timings also I can see. Which page loads how quickly. So these are the page views versus average page load time. So if I click here, it shows me that 5 great books on branding you must read, that's an article name, is taking 100% more time than the rest of the site to load. So if I click here, oh, I could have clicked it from outside itself. If I click here, it'll open it for a demo. Okay, it is not taking that long. Maybe it was taking long a while back, but now the page is fine. So if you want to fix this, let's go to speed suggestions. So Google Analytics will quickly identify what's wrong with these pages and then give me suggestions on what needs to be done to fix this issue. So usually it takes some time for Google Analytics to give you suggestions. First of all, we've also selected a large date range, right? So we could have reduced it. So let's reduce it to 1 year. Okay, just a random question until this loads. I'm assuming some of you would have already been using Google Analytics even before this workshop started. Some of you would have now started using it. Uh, so, do you believe that there are a few things that have added value in the last 4 sessions? Because, or if not, then what is it that you were looking for? Then we can design probably an extra session or answer those questions now. Okay, Chaitanya, I got your question. R3, you can also ask your question. I'll pick it up right after this. Yeah, so it loaded. So guys, this is the time to ask questions. Otherwise, we'll leave quickly. So these are the page names, and this is the average page load time. And look at the speed suggestion. So let's say this page has 6 total suggestions. So if I click here, it will reanalyze that website quickly and will give you a score out of 100. So it gave me a score of 69 and it says it needs work. Now if I click on mobile, it says poor. I mean, you of course need to then make it better. Now Kunti is asking, how do I optimize the page load time then? Absolutely. So this is how, when you scroll down, it tells you how to fix. It says possible optimizations are leverage browser caching, eliminate render blocking JavaScript code, reduce server response time, optimize the images, prioritize visible content. All of these, when you click here, it will give you how do you do this and which are those images which are taking longer time, and how do you minify CSS, which particular line you should look at, and how do you prioritize visible content. You just show the first few lines of your content, and when somebody scrolls down, you should load the next level of content to make your speed better. So Kunti, all of it, either if you understand technical stuff yourself, you can go start solving it, or share it with your technical team. They will solve it. But at least now you know what to fix. Now you know where the issue is. And slowly and gradually, when you start doing all of these things, your page load time will start to decrease and your website SEO rankings will also become better. Sure. So Athri, can you please copy paste the question? I'm using a different laptop which I don't have access to assignments today. In the meanwhile, Chaitanya says, oh, Kunti says, yes, yes, if you don't have a technical team, of course, then you need to Google a little more to learn things yourself. Yes, you can do everything on a WordPress site and maybe a little bit of Googling here and there. I learned it myself. So I learned the entire WordPress myself. I learned the optimization myself before I could even afford a technical team. Yeah, but that's still outside of the scope of analytics. Analytics is like a diagnostic lab. You actually need to go to the doctor to fix the health issue you are facing. Chaitanya says, is it okay if we are using WordPress from page load point of view? So Chaitanya, see, WordPress is also a very, see, there is nothing better than WordPress out there. So WordPress, I would like to believe, is the best platform there for making websites. There is nobody even close to that platform, hands down. However, it is also a place where the engineers of the world are flooded. So for example, Android Play Store is a marketplace, but you'll find great apps and you will find very shitty apps also. Because it's a wonderful marketplace for engineers to come and start making themes. You will see some themes are very badly designed. You have to be very cautious, especially with perspective of page load time. Some themes are very badly coded and you have to run away. by looking at the reviews. It's like a Play Store, right? You can see every theme, you can look at the star ratings, you can look at the reviews before you actually purchase it. What about Wix.com? Is it good? See, Wix is good, Abhinay, but it is very for beginners. The customization possibility is almost zero. Is almost zero. It's still not a marketplace where engineers of the world will come and design plugins for you and design the new themes for you. They're pre-designed, pre-templatized themes, drag and drop interface, very little coding required, and hence it's very basic. You can start with Wix. In terms of its usability, in terms of its experience, in terms of page load time, Wix is very, very, very good. So if you were to relate Wix and WordPress, WordPress is Play Store, Android Play Store, and Wix is iOS App Store. Very limited apps, thorough testing done on anything that is available, but you can't get everything there. Okay. Now there are other questions about. Okay, Kunti, I think I forgot what I said, but but I will repeat whenever I find it. Now Hosseini is saying AEM. Okay, to have analytics. So would be others. Any comparison matrix of what? So you're talking about comparison matrix of the tools available in the market. So what comparison matrix are we talking about? I'm sure there are many, but which matrix? Okay, let me pick up other question by Atri. Atri is saying from practice question 2, question 1 is if my Google Analytics tracking ID is UA hyphen number, what is my account ID and what is my property number? Your account ID is that big one, 56555768, and -6 is your property number. How do we know this? So when you go to the admin panel, so you see this every time you create an account, you have to also create a property for that website. So when you click a drop down here, these are your account numbers. On the right hand side against the name of each, you see a number. And for a property, so let's say if you have selected this property of Market Dynamics magazine, it has a number which is 429116642. If you look at properties, it will be 429116642 -8 -6 -1 -3 -12. All of these are your property numbers. More about this in session 1 or session 2, I think, if you can listen to the recording. Atri is saying, and where do we place the Google Analytics code on the website? So Atri, you either place it in the header or in the footer or on every web page of your website. There are 3 options. Best practices say if you can't place it on all the web pages of your site, then place it in the header. Atri is saying, can you show once? So Atri, you're talking about placing the code, or are you talking about the account property code? You want me to show how to place the code in the header? Haven't I showed it to you in the previous sessions? It's very simple. Okay, let me show it to you. So I go to Market Dynamics website, which is a WordPress based website, and let me log into the backend of the web.